probably thought I was snowboarding. Stupid fucking idiot. Have you ever looked back on popular trends and wondered where they came from? I had that thought recently with extreme sports. Extreme
EA Sports. I'm in the game.
I'm willing to bet if you owned a GameCube or an Xbox, you probably played one of these games. Those games being Amped2. I'm fucking amped. And SSX Tricky. X, you know, for sex. I mean...
Welcome to SSX Tricky. This is going to be fun.
Now, SSX Tricky was a way more popular game than Amped was, but I still feel like Amped has a place on this list. So, let's talk about them. What made these games so appealing to pick up in the first place? Was it the fact that Tony Hawk games were popular at the time? Was it the cover art of the games? Were they just that appealing in stores? Was it word of mouth, you know? Were people just really hyped about this type of stuff? Was it a product of its time? Was it because we were more willing to try extreme sports games after the popularity of Tony Hawk? I have a funny feeling Amped2 was popular because of, well, it was bundled with Xboxes. It was bundled with Top Spin and Amped2 in one game. It came with my original Xbox as a kid. My brother had a paper route, and he bought our Xbox with the money he made from that. And, well, we were kids, you know, it was like 2005, so we didn't have a lot of money. So you kind of just played the games you had, you know. Turns out Amped2 was a fucking sick game, you know what I'm saying? Fucking sick. What? What the fuck? SSX Tricky, on the other hand, I don't know where that game came from. I don't remember where we got it. I asked my brother, and he seems to think either he saw it in store and thought it was dope, or he played it at a friend's house and really enjoyed it. It was great that these two games didn't take themselves too seriously. They're not really like Sims, you know, they're more of an arcade game. They were just both games that you could just pick up and play, forget life's responsibilities. You know, it was great. SSX Tricky had a World Cup mode. It was composed of quarter, semi, and final rounds. You have to place in the top 3 to win that track. The medals are bronze, silver, and gold, just like, you know, the dank Olympics. Career mode in Amped2 is a lot like other games of the era, like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. Each mountain has a high score and a media score to beat. In the case of the mountain high score, you must perform your best tricks on the way down to get the highest score possible. The media scores are different because you have to get the highest score in a specific area where the photographer is. These often needed a sequence of top tier tricks to pull off. The player also must find 8 snowmen on the mountain. It's kind of lame, you know what I'm saying? It was kind of lame. In addition to these challenges, you were invited to these events, and you had to compete for a top 3 to finish. As the player's fame rises, you get different titles, I guess. From local rider, shop rider, pro, superstar, and number 1. Fucking number 1, you know what I'm saying? Number 1. Once they reach number 1, you could go back to every mountain and complete the legend event for that track. Makes me wonder if it was an era that, you know, extreme sports were just popular when I was a kid. You know, everyone wanted to be the next Tony Hawk or Shaun White, I guess. I'm assuming there was just a bigger demand for it at the time. I personally remember as a kid trying to snowboard and, well, failing very horribly to the point where I got 3 concussions. I also tried to skateboard, and that turned into someone snapping my skateboard and me just never trying it again. I just remember wanting to be good at snowboarding, but not really having any rhyme or reason for it. Didn't help that, you know, there wasn't a bunch of like places you could go practice skateboarding or snowboarding in my town. It's a pretty small hometown, but you know, I was never, I guess, driven enough to complete any of the sports though. I failed and just kind of gave up. I wanted to be good without putting in the effort, you know. I did this with bikes as well. I really wanted a dirt jumper as a kid and wanted to be good at that. You know, I guess the only one I didn't really do was like BMX. I even tried rollerblading. Guess what I'm trying to say is I flip-flopped over loads of different extreme sports without actually ever committing or really doing any of them. I was just expecting to be good, and that was it, you know. I didn't put in the time or the effort for them. I'm wondering if media pushed it onto kids, or was there just like an absurd amount of advertising for X Games or things of the sort. I definitely remember it being, you know, if you were good at any extreme sport at all, you were the cool kid. So maybe that had a factor in it. You know, I just wanted to fit in, or fit in better. The trend was so popular that it made its way all the way until 2007 for video games anyway, with the first Skate. After that, Skate 2 and Skate 3 kind of tapered off. There was even 1080 snowboarding for the N64. There's the Tony Hawk Pro Skater games, Jet Set Radio. Crazy to think that it was so in your face and so popular for it to just fade out of existence.
What the fish doing?
No one even talks about any of these games anymore. There was kind of, you know, a resurgence when the Tony Hawk games got remade, but that lasted, you know, up until it released, and that was it. There's also the Trials franchise, the I guess like dirt bike game, like was like on the Xbox 360. That was a cool game. I guess what I'm trying to say is I don't really know what caused this trend to happen, but I do really miss it. I used to be able to get lost in these types of games for hours. Just play the same thing over and over and over. It seems like as I get older, I just get bored more quickly. It's genuinely harder to get entertained by the small things in life. I think I'm gonna go do that. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe.